gun thoughts.
You showed me how to live love, so tell me what you're thinking
CZ Bren 2, not an FN Scar. This is the 11-inch barrel MS model, which stands for
Stands for fix it yourself in Czech. If they have their own language, I don't know.
Boom, there you go.
Fact check me.
That is what it stands for. This is a gun from, as you can see here, Czech Republic. It is very similar to a Scar. You got short stroke, gas piston, non-reciprocating, charging handle,
Which is better than the Scar. Scar is reciprocating.
polymer lower of some sort. That hasn't broken, so I guess that's okay. It's nice and light.
It is pretty light.
We're gonna go through this in sort of a unique way. We're gonna work our way through this pistol, and we're gonna talk about how it came out of the box and what we've done to it to have it in this glorious form that you have before you now. Alright, so this thing came with a flash hider out of the box. That flash hider is actually really good at hiding the flash. Good
It
job.
looks cool, too.
CZ.
You look like a firebender from
Yeah, you
Avatar.
get like these cool little like Ninja Star muzzle flashes, and they're actually pretty small and pretty discreet. The downside of that flash hider is that it doesn't do anything about the muzzle rise that you'll experience when shooting this pistol.
That jumps a lot.
So we swapped it out for the suppressor mount, and it feels flatter now.
That's way flatter.
Looks cool.
Looks cool. So that's good.
Looks cool with the suppressor. The mount does not look cool.
That's
No,
true.
Never,
YHN.
Yeah, that's true.
never take it
The
off.
flash hider actually does look cooler than this mount.
So a nice
That
addition that CZ puts on these is that they actually come with iron sights so that you can pick it out of the box and just shoot it, which is absolutely groundbreaking. But, you know, they seem to be like they would do a thing good.
We didn't actually ever shoot with them, but it looks good. And
If we
when
were...
your EOTech runs out of battery after 2 hours, then you're good to
Yes.
keep shooting. So
Exactly. Another thing that it came with from the factory was a really, really short handguard. It stopped about here.
shorter than that, honestly.
About there?
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty, I mean, insanely short.
It's
and
rough, dude.
I have small hands, which I've talked about almost every single video that we have, and it's still too small for me. So, I don't know who was testing this. Maybe it's for child soldiers. I don't know, but it's not long enough.
With that factory handguard, if you're shooting it with a aggressive modern grip with your thumb over the bore, then I'm going to flip it around here, and you can see here that the meat of your thumb is going to push that charging handle just slightly back, and it doesn't reciprocate unless you push it out of battery, in which case it is going to go into battery whether your thumb likes it or not, and your thumb won't like it very much.
I kind of liked it.
You could swap the charging handle to the other side and run it like an AK doing the reach,
Round.
but
What kind of reach is it?
it's the reach under.
Like a reach around?
No, you go under.
But do you reach around at all?
Well, you go around the mag, so yeah, it's a reach around and under.
Nice.
You reach under and around,
Under and around,
and then you grab it.
and you grab it.
We're talking a lot of trash on this charging handle right here, but I will say that it is a very, very smooth feeling. It just feels incredible to rack. Press checking it is easy. You don't have to force it back in a battery. It's just very smooth. The one downside of that is if you're running a wider optic, you are going to ram your hands into that optic as you run that charging handle.
Another thing is that it can be used as a forward assist
Mm-hmm.
without having the downside of reciprocating and just beating the absolute out of your hand.
We have on here HB Industries' new Handguard. It's pretty cool. And it has a gas key extender, so you can still click it and have your adjustable gas there.
So the CZ Bren 2 pistol variant comes with adjustable gas with 3 settings. It has off, normal, and adverse.
Alright, now go normal.
The 16-inch has off, normal, and suppressed. We really wish this gun came with the suppressed setting. That would be really, really nice. It does get a little bit punchier with the suppressor on it. We'll talk about that later. But one option to fix that is you can have the off setting drilled out to become a suppressed setting. It's definitely fine how it is suppressed. It could be a little bit flatter.
Yeah. Moving on to the trigger. As far as out-of-the-box service rifles go, it's surprisingly not bad. There is stock, quite a bit of take-up, but then the brake is predictable and fairly light. It also has a little bit too much over travel factory. This trigger shoe fixes pretty much all of that, takes out most of the take-up, and it takes out most of the over travel, and this trigger is actually pretty nice now.
It's a little plasticky compared to like a Geisley, but one cool thing that CZ did is they decided to put the bolt catch and bolt release inside the trigger guard, so you can just run the whole gun with all your fingers inside the trigger guard like this. I love putting a ton of pressure on my bolt catch from inside the trigger guard. Speaking of this, it does take a lot of pressure to actually drop the bolt from inside the trigger guard. We have no mag in. It takes a considerable amount of pressure from your trigger finger to actually be able to drop this bolt. Personally, I don't think it's faster to use this. You can run it like a paintball gun. You can do this, and you can just do super fast reloads. One finger runs the trigger, the other runs the bolt release.
I never thought of that. That's a great idea.
Yeah, you should.
Tell us more.
Yeah. So one thing that I really didn't like is the safety. I kind of have a hard time engaging and disengaging the safety without breaking my grip.
I do not have a problem with the safety. Out of the box, it was a little stiff. It wore in right away, and it doesn't seem to be getting much looser, so that's a good sign. So on here, you might have noticed that we've got this beautiful ACR tail hook brace. Out of the box, it does not come like this. It comes with an end piece that is threaded for an AR buffer tube, so if you want to throw your SB brace on there. We grouped the gun with some variety of different ammunitions, and it seems to be around a 2 to 3 MOA gun. Not terribly disappointing, but also nothing to write home about there.
Reliability. This gun has been pretty reliable for us. We've mostly been running it on the normal setting, not the adverse setting.
Yep.
It has had issues with a couple of our absolutely blown out USGI mags, but that's a mag issue. On the other hand, it has had issues with D60s. So we've had a couple malfunctions within a single D60 drum. We were running M855. That could just be the pressure of the spring from the D60 on the bolt carrier, and maybe you have to run a D60 on adverse. We don't really care, and we don't really run D60s that much, and we haven't tested it any further. So if you want to LARP with D60s, then that's your problem.
Mags that aren't D60s and aren't clapped out, it seems to have been 100% reliable with any ammo we fed it, so yeah, reliability seems pretty good.
Story time.
Story time moment.
Guys, I almost died. Clickbait title.
We had an odd malfunction where a case exploded. We took the gun to a gunsmith, a local shop, and we were like, hey guys, the bullet explode. Can you check the gun out and make sure it's okay? They call me on the phone and they're like, hey, we checked your gun, but we headspaced it and it closes on a field gauge. And I was like, oh, that's really bad. I'm gonna have to send this back to CZ. So that's what I did. Wanting to be thorough,
Thank you for
called
calling
up CZ, talked to the gunsmith that worked on it. He said that the Headspace is in spec. It does not close on a field gauge. He suggested that our gunsmith may have used a 223 spec Headspace gauge rather than 556, and they were sending the gun back. They had polished the chamber for us.
Well, thank you so much.
Not knowing what
Thanks.
to believe, not knowing what is true, who is right, who is wrong, we bought our own gauges, and Headspace is fine. Yeah, the gun seems to have in-spec Headspace.
Also, at PMC, go ahead and Google annealing. That might be a good start.
What really matters is how it feels, at least to us. For me, at least, it's definitely different from a DI AR, obviously. At least I felt a little bit more reciprocating mass from the top part of the gun, which to me added a little bit more of a jump from the muzzle. But that's not to say that it was uncontrollable or really that unpredictable. And personally, I really like shooting this gun.
It's definitely different from an AR, just like he said, and I also think that it's very, very mild recoiling, but at the same time, the dot moves a lot more than a well-gassed AR, I would say, but it's not punchy in any way. It's pretty soft shooting. It's definitely something you have to get used to.
If you want this gun to shoot flat, ditch the flash hider. Either throw your suppressor mount on there in your can, or throw on a muzzle brake.
The flash hider definitely makes the dot always go up and to the right.
Yeah.
So I'm the opposite right now, but up and to the right, and we all experience the exact same thing.
Shooting this gun suppressed is a okay experience. It would be probably a much better experience if CZ had decided to put a suppressed setting on it. That said, it's definitely not unshootable suppressed out of the box. You don't really get much, if any, gas in the face, at least with the Turbo K in our experience, or the resonator. You definitely do feel that the bolt is hitting the rear with more force.
Shooting it suppressed was actually my favorite way to do it. One, because I'm a little and I get scared when there's muzzle flash and loud noises.
I think we can all relate, buddy.
Yeah,
It's okay.
it's really scary. The dot movement for me with the suppressor was basically just straight up and down, which is really good.
A lot of people like buying short stroke piston guns because, oh, DI guns, shit where they eat, blah, 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 blah. You can't run a suppressor on a DI gun, blah, 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 blah. A lot of people think this is a solution to that. It does shoot a little bit cleaner. There's a little bit less gas in the face when you're shooting suppressed, but honestly, compared to a well-gassed AR, it's not that big of a difference. Compared to a gassier, potentially over-gassed AR, it's a pretty large difference.
So we brought out this little guy. This is a 10.3 AR build. It has a Daniel Defense new production 10.3 barrel with a .070 gas port. That is crane spec. What did we even do? We wanted to compare the difference between this pretty well-gassed DI gun versus that pretty well-gassed short stroke gas piston. They're pretty well matched. The AR probably edges it a little bit, but if you do want to go with the Bren, it's honestly not a terrible pick unless you go with 7.62x39, because those don't seem to work.
I will say that running that test, I'm much more used to the AR and the DI recoil impulse, so I really thought that I would come out on top shooting this gun, but they were honestly very comparable. And one thing that surprised me was how easy it was to shoot this, and despite it feeling different and feeling like I may not be shooting as fast, this actually shot really well. So I was actually pretty surprised that a short stroke piston gun shot as well as a DI gun. So good job, CZ.
I think that if you absolutely had to get a non-AR pattern rifle, pistol, firearm,
Gun.
I would definitely look at this as a serious contender. I like its reliability. It's accurate enough.
Could be a little better.
Yeah, it definitely could be. It's not exactly as accurate as I would like, but it's good enough. And I think that it's definitely a very good contender, a very good option in the non-AR market. I like it, and I don't really have anything that negative to say about it. And it looks really cool.
So this gun, definitely not perfect out of the box. You're gonna have to train with it quite a bit, especially if you're used to shooting ARs. But honestly, it's a pretty good gun. I will say that if you're buying this instead of a nice AR just because you want the short stroke gas piston, then I don't know. That's your prerogative, I guess.
Consider your priorities.
Yeah, consider your priorities, but also like a well-gassed AR shoots as well or better than this. That being said, we haven't found a lot of well-gassed ARs.
Yeah, it's pretty good, but it took some work to get it to the point that it is pretty good. For example, I would consider the extended handguard to honestly sort of be a must if you want to run this gun in the way that we do. It's pretty good. It's not mind-blowing. It's not revolutionary. You can fire it while folded. Do that with your DI gun. Ha!
Okay.
I do.
I feel like so many people think short stroke guns are like
Let me make
the
sure it's
future,
rolling.
you know? They're like, they're so much better than ARs. But it's like, they're really comparable.
Fun and shooting this piston gun.
And the only thing that we learned is that I'm worse at shooting than they are.
In terms of feels for this gun, for me, I really think
Feels.
every fucking time.
For me.
For me. In terms of how it feels for me.
So I prefer the DI gun. Just because I think I'm definitely a creature of habit. I have it. Turns out it's all a lie.
Hey, nice work.
What's all a lie?
All of it.
What's up, Patreon bros?
Alright.
Final thoughts. You've made it way to the end of this video. Holy
Again.
wow, you're cool. Do you see shirt? Do you see sticker? We have shirt and sticker for sale now, I think. It should be. Website is gunthoughts.com. It's on the screen right now. If you guys like the videos and you want to support us, we have merch, we have Patreon. If you like the videos and you don't want to support us, we understand because
We don't actually.
we like the shirts. They are soft, 65% polyester, 35% cotton.
100% hot.
You want to hear the Gun Thoughts new song?
Nope.
Nope.
Gun
Do
Thoughts
not.
buy our merch.
No.
Buy Gun Thoughts merch.
No.
But also, this t-shirt that is famous from...
Oh, we should tell the story of it. We were setting up for a local USPSA match with some very FUD rules that we had to follow. And we were trying to figure out how to set up a classifier and still follow the FUD rules. So some FUD with those shooting glasses with some tape over his non-dominant eye, or maybe his dominant eye, I don't know.
As you do.
As you do, I guess, suppose. Comes up to us and he's like, why don't you just make it C-zone or better? We're like, because that's not how it works. And he's like, well, have you considered making it C-zone or better? And
Yeah.
it goes back and forth like this for a while, and then he's talking to a now GM shooter, and he decides to get a little cranky, and he goes, well, I'm not a gamer hoser like you guys. I shoot defensive pistol. I shoot to save a life. One miss? Do you know what a miss is? A miss is a 7-figure mistake. We don't have misses in our game. And that's where Gamer Hoser was born.
Side note, that GM level shooter is none of us.
It was me.